to public speaking. As we move to our general evaluation session today, and to conduct that, let's welcome someone who says his best friend is Joseph Kuruvilla from his college days, and this friend is always there by him during the best and worst moments of his life. Let's welcome with a thundering round of applause distinguished Toastmaster Avinash Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, how are you today?
Good.
Elated. Wow. Because all through the speeches there was a somber mood. And people were talking about suicides and gambling. And I was like, where is this mood going? Why is this melancholy? Everyone is so sad. So I just wanted to elate you. Great. Today, the general evaluation section will be divided into 3 phases. The first phase is the project speeches will be evaluated by the speech evaluators. The second phase will be the role players will be giving their reports, and finally I will take the overall view of the meeting and share my feedback. So let's start with the first phase of evaluation of the project speeches that we call Toastmaster Kalyani, who will evaluate Toastmaster Bhanu's speech. Please welcome Toastmaster Kalyani.
Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and my target speaker, Toastmaster Bhanu. The purpose of an icebreaker speech was for the member to introduce themselves to the club, and I think the speaker has done the job well. The speaker talked about herself, an incident in her life which made her realize how important it is for her and for her to speak her heart out and not suppress her feelings. And I think we should also be like her, be like the speaker, to not let our feelings suppress and speak our heart out. And she also talked about the reasons she loved Toastmasters. Moving on, I'll talk about the content and delivery and the tips to improvement. Speaking of the content, it was a well-drafted speech. It had opening, body, and conclusion. There was a key message. There was also a personal incident, and the speaker, the speech had the use of quotes. The speaker also made an attempt to use the word of the day. And there was also a little humor I noticed. Speaking about the delivery, the speaker began with a smile, and her diction had clarity. She appeared pretty confident while speaking, and I noticed some hand gestures and usage too. The speaker also was energetic in the beginning. So if I had to give some suggestions, I would just talk on. Please ensure that whenever you are speaking, you have enough lighting on your face so that our audience can see your facial gestures too, along with the hand gestures. And with that, I conclude my evaluation, and I wish all the best to the speaker for her future success. Thank you.
As there is evaluation for this evaluation, I will not be commenting right now. I will comment at the end with respect to how it went. So let's proceed to the second speech. Let me call upon Toastmaster Puneet to evaluate the speech of Toastmaster Tushar. Toastmaster Puneet.
Good evening once again, everyone. I'm here to evaluate Toastmaster Tushar's speech. Tushar, who gave a speech by the title Taking a Lead, in which the main objective of the speech was to show practice vocal variety and at the same time have different kinds of body language. Now, today Toastmaster Tushar narrated us a wonderful personal story wherein he showed that how we can be a better human being, how he helped the man by stopping him from committing suicide, and in this process of doing so, he motivated that particular person to do well in his life. Now, talking about the things which I really liked about Toastmaster Tushar's speech is that the objective of the speech being vocal variety, he had a lot of characters in him. Tushar himself, the man who was committing suicide, his friend, the security guard. So he had a lot of characters in the speech through which he enacted various characters, and in this process he managed to achieve the objective of the process, the objective of the speech, which is to show vocal variety and at the same time show different kinds of body language. Also, personally, for me, talking about what would be the greatest takeaway as an audience sitting there is that Toastmaster Tushar, through his personal story, motivated me to do well in my own life. I'm sure that all of you sitting in this room, when you heard Toastmaster Tushar's speech, even you might have felt that out of this room, going out of this room, you too need to do something good for the or to the humanity or to the people in general. And this is the biggest takeaway for me. And this goes on to show that Toastmaster Tushar is a wonderful person with a golden heart. Apart from that, he had a voice modulation for different characters. He showed different kinds of voice modulation. His hand gestures were quite appropriate, calling out the person, shouting at him, convincing him to come near to him. There was a lot of voice. There were a lot of hand gestures which he used in a very appropriate way. Also, in the form of the person who is committing suicide, he did show us his emotional side as well, which I believe is a different task when you if you have to show your emotional side to the audience, and that to so many people sitting in front of you. Apart from that, a confident body language and a very good usage of stage, and throughout the speech at appropriate places, it has his golden smile with which he greeted all the audience. So overall for me, a very great speech, a personal story. Now talking about the points where I felt we could improve upon a bit. Whenever there is any kind of characters in the speech, and whenever those two characters are talking to each other, you need to, the first character when you're talking, you always have to show one character towards one side, and when that character is talking to the other character, you have to change your stance on the stage, which I felt was missing. And as a result, when the sports characters were discussing among themselves, at times I felt a bit confused. Apart from that, Tushar, we all know how impromptu speaker he is. So I felt somewhere there was this touch of impromptu speaking as well. And whenever there is this prepared speeches, you need to prepare in a better way. And I felt at times there were instances where Toastmaster Tushar was searching for words. So better preparation would have surely helped. To summarize, I would say a good motivational speech with a wonderful takeaway for all the audience, that is to help a bit of proper usage of stage while the character was interacting in between would have taken the speech to the next level. Toastmaster Tushar, congratulations and good job.
Thank you, Toastmaster Puneet. Indeed, well-rounded evaluation, and I agree with your points. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. That was in Mary Poppins. What I felt, it was a good speech, it had a message. I loved your pauses. I felt humor could have been used in the beginning and then you could have gone low. Right? If you start with a somber mood, that oh, someone is committing suicide, you will not get that impact in your speech. You need to have that. The project objective was vocal variety. You started at a high pitch and you went higher by shouting. So you will need to have a moderate pitch, then you can go higher or lower. If you do that, then you will be able to have that variety which you are trying to find. And of course, write your drafts. These 5 minutes 45 seconds is not good. You have 7 minutes. You could have used the whole thing. So overall, I love the pauses. Work on the draft and the vocal variety. Start with a moderate pitch and then go higher. Great. Let's now go to the third speech. Let me call evaluator Toastmaster Yash to evaluate Toastmaster Puneet's speech.
Speeches come in all sizes. So we have impromptu speeches, we have shorter speeches like the one we had today, 3 to 4 minutes, and we also have keynote speeches like 20 minutes. Today, Toastmaster Umesh attempted one of the shorter forms. One of the things which really worked in this speech was the very catchy introduction with which he began the speech. The art of using a very, very controversial statement, taking a controversial stance And attracting everyone's attention is a very good way to begin a speech, and that is where Toastmaster Umesh did a good job. Moving on to the main body of the speech, he gave us an example with which all of us could relate, because he gave an example of using your time at Toastmasters, that is picking up fight for public speaking, versus whiling away your time on other activities. So again, that was a relatable point which we picked up, and this was another thing which worked in the favor of the speech. The main body of the speech was very well structured, 3 P's, mnemonics, very easy to remember for the audience, and also gave a very good structure to the main part, the main section of the speech. The thing which worked really well in this particular section is that he gave an example with each P of his 3 P's. So that was another good part. Now, how could this speech be better? Number one, although these tactics were great, Toastmaster Umesh needs to look at the larger picture. That is the purpose of this particular speech. The purpose of this particular speech was to demonstrate a speech in a social setting. That is, either give a toast or an acceptance speech of an award or something like that. Either praising a person or a group, a eulogy or something of that manner. That element was missing. This speech was more of a generic speech, and it did not gel well with the objective of this particular project. Another area of improvement, although minor in comparison to the first recommendation, but still important for the overall speech, is to work on the conclusion. Since Toastmaster Umesh was short of time, the conclusion felt a bit rushed, and that is why it could not make as much impact as the introduction did. So overall, although the speech had good tactics, a great introduction, a great body with use of mnemonics, but I am not really elated to say that the overall objective has to be looked at, and I would recommend Toastmaster Umesh to probably consider re-attempting this particular project. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yash. I totally agree with your assessment. The speech did not meet the project objectives. It was supposed to be a social speech, either a eulogy or an acceptance speech, a toast, or praising someone, an individual or an organization. So this speech was not in line with the project objectives. However, due to the paucity of time, it felt rushed, even though the Toastmaster Umesh could have worked on how to use that time properly so that the conclusion could have been better. Let's now go to the last evaluator. We will evaluate the first evaluator on the first project speech. Let me call upon Toastmaster Venkat to evaluate Toastmaster Kalyani's evaluation.
General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, one good evening to all of you, and my target evaluator, Toastmaster. A maiden evaluation for a maiden prepared speech is a huge challenge in itself, and you took on that challenge so beautifully. And I really like the way you presented your viewpoint on what Toastmaster Banu spoke today. It was 4 to 6 minutes. When you evaluate an icebreaker speech, okay, one of the fundamental things that need to be on the evaluator's mind is how can I make this member who's new to this club come again and present the new set of speeches. Okay, so there has to be an element of motivation that goes into all your observations and your recommendations. So you had a lot of good things about the speech that you spoke about. For example, the confidence that you referred. So when you speak about confidence, people have gone ahead and said, she was so confident as she spoke. I never felt that she was giving an icebreaker speech. That kind of a statement will motivate her to come and again present the next speech. Similarly, when you spoke about the and that is for enough lighting. You have to understand that this is an icebreaker speech. She's giving a speech for the first time, and that too online. Probably not touching upon that aspect may have been better for you. But on the other hand, for example, the distance that she is maintaining between the camera and herself, that's a point that you could have picked up, because that's something that impacts the quality of her speeches. Finally, there was one thing that I liked about her speech, which could have been touched upon, and that is her facial expression when she said she meant mom. That's something very, very superb to see in an icebreaker speech. I was really impressed when she did that. So these are some of the things that you need to look at. You are a champion evaluator in the making, Toastmaster community. I can say that for sure. Just pick up these few points, and I'm sure you will be able to do it. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venkat. Let me start with the speech. Kudos, Toastmaster Banu. 6 months procrastination, an awesome speech. Good. But the next speech should be maybe in a couple of weeks so that we have that momentum now. I love the way you had an emotional connect. You had the emotion. What I would like to recommend is don't take half measures. When you want to emote, go full in. Right? You had one incident which you did not disclose, because of which your life went awry. And everyone in the audience wanted to do. And when you don't satisfy the urges of the audience, they will not have that impact. So either don't state that, or if you state, share that. I know it is very difficult to be that vulnerable in front of strangers, sakas, bandhus, whatever, priya sakas, but it will help you to connect with the audience at a greater level. It was an awesome speech. However, just the half measure of not actually committing towards sharing what that incident was. It kept us in the, it was suspense thriller where we didn't get the conclusion. Right? It didn't reach that conclusion. Overall, I love the way you try to share about yourself, and kudos to you. It was a very nice speech. Let's have a huge round of applause. Toastmaster Kalyani, I being your mentor, I don't want to comment much. One thing, Toastmaster Venkat already covered most of the things. Always summarize your evaluations. The summary was missing. It will give 1, 2, 3 good points, 1, 2, 3 areas to improve, so that the recency effect, according to psychology, that whatever we hear last stays with us longer. That will help the speaker to work on. Right? So that is something which you can include in your evaluation. Good start. Keep evaluating. Let's have a round of applause for all the speakers and evaluators. Fabulous job. Now let's come to the role play reports. Let me call upon the timer to share the time taken by each evaluator.
Thank you, Janadev. Toastmaster Kalyani took 1 minute and 56 seconds. Toastmaster Punit took 3 minutes 14 seconds. Toastmaster Yes took 2 minutes 50 seconds. Toastmaster Venkat took 2 minutes and 47 seconds. No, except Kalyani, all are eligible to be voted yes.
Okay. Toastmaster Bhanu, when will we have the voting links? Now?
Toastmaster Kiran will be sharing the links.
I'll continue. Let me now call upon the accounter of the day to share her report. Toastmaster Kartiki.
I am here to present the accounter's report. Toastmaster Puneet used 2 filler words and 4 filler phrases. Toastmaster Gandhar used 1 filler word, 10 filler phrases, and 1 crutch word. Toastmaster Vikas used one filler word and one filler phrase. Toastmaster Gajaran used 13 correct sounds, one filler word and three filler phrases. Toastmaster Lavanya used one filler word and one filler phrase. Toastmaster Kalyani used 13 correct sounds and 8 filler phrases. Toastmaster Bhanu used 4 filler words and 2 filler phrases. Toastmaster Tushar used 1 filler word and 2 filler phrases. Toastmaster Yash used 1 correct sound, 5 filler words, 4 filler phrases. Toastmaster Umesh used 1 correct sound, 4 filler words and 5 filler phrases. DTM Avinash used 5 correct sounds, 3 filler words and 2 filler phrases. Toastmaster Anand used 1 filler phrase, 1 correct sound. Toastmaster Sanjay used 1 filler phrase. Toastmaster Urvashi used 3 filler phrases, 2 filler words. Toastmaster Venkat used 7 filler words and 12 filler phrases. Toastmaster Sarthak used 6 filler words, 8 filler phrases. Toastmaster guest Elam used 10 crutch words. Toastmaster Subhangi used 13 crutch sounds, 13 filler phrases and 6 filler words and 6 filler phrases. And Toastmaster Digvijay used 5 crutch sounds, 6 filler words and 7 filler phrases.
Long list. Let's now call the grammarian for today. I'm very elated for you to come and take the stage.
I'm elated by the usage of elated in the to give you a count, Toastmaster Manu used word of the day once, Toastmaster Anand used it once, guest Elam used it twice, Toastmaster Avinash used it twice, Toastmaster Yash used it once. I'm also elated by the quality of, English being used in the meeting today. So there are very few errors, hardly a 1 or 2. To report the good usage of English, procrastinator, I go mum, easier to break a rock than break an ice, screwed up big time. There was a beautiful quote shared by Toastmaster Manu, if you are going to hell, why stop? Keep going. Vulnerable, recency effect, career transition, formalize, constructive progress, inquisitive speaker. To unveil that, I have to keep you in suspense. Apprehension, take life forward. Concern, keep your friends at the back to support you. That's the way to lead your life. Well-rounded, somber, and spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Okay, now we'll have a fun section to listen and to test your listening skills. Let me call upon Toastmaster Lavanya Dilipka to test you.
Let the question and answer round begin. I hope everyone is elated. Okay. So when Toastmaster Puneet started his presiding officer speech, and when he continued his story, what was behind the door? What were the 3 fears that he described? There were 3 fears he mentioned.
Rejection, failure,
Correct. Okay. So when we describe Priya Sakhas, so what type of love do they represent?
Tough.
Correct. Okay. So what quality does Toastmaster Tushar like in his friends?
patience.
They are always correct. Okay. Whenever Toastmaster Umesh introduces himself as a timer in his club meetings, how does he introduce?
Nice.
Correct. And this is a very famous one. What advice did Toastmaster Sanjay give to his friend?
Mobile phone.
Okay. Toastmaster Venkat given advice to his friend that who in his family member like his friend mother and elder son. Okay. Then Toastmaster Avinash mentioned the code by 9 formats. What was it?
Medicine.
Spoonful
of sugar helps the medicine
control. Not sugar.
Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Correct. Okay, and last one. What was Toastmaster Venkat's advice to Toastmaster Kalyani for icebreaker speech?
Motivate speaker.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's now go towards the overall evaluation of the meeting. Meeting started at 6 hours and 8 minutes. We could do better. We can start at 6 sharp. Toastmaster Kiran shared the mission of the club, and he shared the niceties of and what to avoid in this particular meeting. One feedback would be to speak the mission word to word. It cannot be. The mission is word to word. It cannot have a replaced word or an added word. You will have to again move towards the mission of the Toastmasters Club and say it as is. But kudos to you on remembering a lot of things, and you did everything impromptu. Kudos to you. Great. Let's have a also, you could have introduced the presiding officer. That was missing. Let's now go to the presiding officer. Declared the meeting 613. Great. And a very nice, touching story which helped us understand that if you put focus on fear, or if you can see your fears, it will not remain fear, and you need to overcome all your fears. So good message. He did the guest introduction quite nicely. He introduced the Toastmaster of the day. Kudos to the Toastmaster. Thank you so much. I'll come to the Toastmaster of the day later. Let's go to the role players. Timer, Toastmaster Vikas. I love the way it is the first time you are doing this role and you did not refer to a script. Kudos to you. One small recommendation, it's table topics. It's a trademarked word. It cannot be table speech. Okay, so you said table speech during sharing the timing for table topic speeches. So it is table topics. Otherwise, you did a tremendous, fabulous job. Thank you, and let's have good job done. Counter. Toastmaster Kartiki, you had an in-detail report. What could help the speakers more? I have 5 touchdowns. What is it that is the go-to word or a go-to phrase of a particular person? I use more source, but you know what is it? If you can pinpoint rather than the numbers that okay, so it was no competition. So try to find out and share those simple filler words which people can focus on, bring it to the conscious mind, and then avoid those. But it needed a lot of patience. I could see that you were looking down, not even looking at people, and listening intently. That's what the role of an accountant is, to improve your listening skills. So kudos to you on doing that. Thank you so much. Grammarian, Toastmaster Gajan. Good word of the day. The meeting was somber mood, but the word was elated. And I don't know, it was mismatching for a lot of time. But you did a good job. Don't hold yourself too tightly. Sometimes you get you know what you say. I'm not guessing. I'm not getting the word correctly. So you get. I'm actually not. I'm out of words. So you lost words like I'm losing right now, right? So keep it simple. Just go with the flow. Don't explain too much in the grammarian's role. Just be 1, 2, 3 points. You have to introduce the word of the day. You have to share the good usage and not so good usage and how can it be improved. That's it. Keep it simple. It was good and the tip of the day, despite and in spite, right? It was very good. Thank you so much. Let's have a huge round of applause. Toastmasters Lavanya as a listener. Nice questions. Everyone was into it. We're trying to give answers. It should be a little bit more difficult. A little bit more difficult so that it doesn't come so easy. And when people give wrong answers, don't say, what you're doing. So acknowledge that, okay, it's okay. You didn't listen properly. So that is something you need to take care of because sometimes people like me, very egoistic, they will say, how did she say wrong and all that? Don't do that. Try to have a good outlook towards, okay, even if they didn't listen, okay, I will not hold them accountable, but they will be able to listen more promptly. Okay? So thank you so much. Good questions. Keep it up. Let's now go to the table topic section. Table topic master, Toastmaster Anand. I love, where is it? Yeah, I love the addition of a friend in need. It was really creative and most of the speakers used that. So kudos to you, it was really creative. Thank you so much for doing that. You shared the purpose of table topics. I'm not sure whether you prompted people to use the word of the day. That is one thing I believe was missing. In topics which were related to the friend in need, the name topic name was not followed. You started with the topic, then name, then topic, then name. So that is something which you can look at. Otherwise, it was good. The statement scores, friend in need. It was really nice. With respect to I just wanted to give an overall feedback for all the table topic speakers. Now, I heard someone in the break trying to understand how to speak in such situations. What is it? Is there a formula? Is there a way to go about it? Now, there were two types, right? The first one was about quotes and statements. It requires your opinion. So you share your opinion first, okay? Then attach it to some story or anecdote which can support that opinion, and then derive a message at the end. That is how you go towards quote statements. Okay? Here we had a friend in need. It was a problem solution kind of a book. Whenever you are going towards problem solution, first identify and make the problem big and then give a solution towards it so that, and it can be a humorous solution like Toastmasters Sanjay gave. He was so into it and I was like, if something serious is coming, and then he said, I was like, so it was really nice. We get caught by thinking a lot. Don't think a lot. Follow a structure. Have a structure in mind. Follow that. It will be much easier for you to attend table topics. It's like a small speech, opening, body, conclusion. There should be a conclusion. There should be a takeaway for the audience. Okay. So good. Everyone qualified for the best table topic speaker, which is a good job. Being in time is really nice. You could utilize, so some people could not utilize the whole 2 minutes. Try to speak for 2 minutes. You can, right? So thank you so much. And then last one. So let's have a huge round of applause for the table topic master and the should attempt, because your responsibility is to come here and speak and go, or you will feel incomplete. I'm trying to hypnotize you. You'll feel incomplete if you don't speak and go. So always ensure you come here, speak and go. And last but not the least, to me, oh, Mulund Sakha, right? So I was going to sing that song, but good. The first time I was so glued to what he was trying to say. He's a fantastic speaker, phenomenal speaker, and he kept us glued to it. I was like, should I write or should I listen to him? And fabulous job done. Kudos to you. You did everything right. Okay? Is it because I'm the mentor? Okay, so
you get a separate feedback on the WhatsApp chat.
okay, no, you did a fabulous job. See, the job of Toastmaster of the day is to keep the meeting together and keep the audiences engaged, and you did a fabulous job. So thank you so much, and you were within the time limit, so I'll give that one for you. So let's have a huge round of applause. It was a fabulous meeting. Thank you for your participation.